Welcome to today's Little Red Hen Baking Club. We are making monkey bread in a bag today. So we have some flour, a packet of yeast, and some sugar and some water that we're gonna start with. So you're gonna take your bag and you are going to add 1 cup of the flour, 1 cup of the flour to the bag. You're gonna add your 1/4 cup of sugar. You're going to add your yeast. Cut it open here. If you cut your yeast bag open, you might want to do it over your open gallon bag because the yeast will start to fly out and you don't want to lose any. So you've got your flour, your yeast, and your sugar. Then you're going to add your 1 cup of warm water. Okay. Then you're going to seal your bag. Squeeze as much air from it as you can. Seal it up. Okay, and then just like we've done before, we're going to kind of squish. Make sure everything gets well combined. See some. Okay. All right, when it's well mixed, you're gonna lay your bag down and you're just gonna set it aside for about 10 minutes for its first rise, and then we will be back for the rest. All right, welcome back to our monkey bread. We have been leaving this bag to rise for about 10 minutes, and there is some air inside it now, and it's nice and bubbly. You can see all the bubbles. Well, I can see. The video angle probably isn't great for it, but all sorts of bubbles in there, so that means that it's ready. So what we're gonna do is we are going to add another cup of the flour. Another cup of the flour to the bag. And we're going to add our salt and a 1/4 cup of melted butter. Okay, pour that in there. Get as much out as we can. Okay, now you're going to once again seal the bag. Get as much of the air out as you can. Seal the bag. Mix it up. Squish to mix. It'll start to feel a little bit more dough-like, a little less liquidy. Just a little though. Okay. Once you feel like that's all been mixed pretty well, you're gonna open your bag and you're gonna add your last cup of flour. Losing a little bit. There we go. Then you're going to seal it up again and mix everything together one lmake time. Make sure it gets good and mixed. It'll start to get pretty tough and dough-like. bag just popped open and puffed out a little bit of flour. It's okay. Keep working it. All right. Now we have a little bit of extra flour. So once that's all good and mixed up, we're gonna put a little bit of extra flour on our work surface here. Gonna spread it around. Then you take your dough, dump it out of your bag. Get a little bit of extra flour on your hands and then mix it together. Now it might be a little bit sticky at first, that's okay. If you need a little bit extra flour, you can grab some, but it should knead out the stickiness pretty quickly, except for when you get it all over your hands and you can't get it off. Should have put more flour on my hands. Okay. You're gonna knead it now for about 5 to 10 minutes. If your hands get tired, you can have a grown-up help you. Knead. All right. Kneading. I think I need to get the yeast or the sticky dough off my hands and get a little bit more flour. So hold on while I do that. Sometimes you just need a little bit more flour than you think. That's okay. Okay, I'm gonna get my hands nice and coated. Okay, turn it around, get it all in there. There we go. Now we can get to kneading. Okay, for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. This helps activate the yeast and the gluten in the flour. Gets it all ready. Knead. Kneaded. All right, and when it's been 5 to 10 minutes, you're gonna go ahead and you are going to take your dough and you're gonna put it in a bowl and you're gonna cover it with a towel and let it rise for about 45 minutes to an hour. And we'll come back at that point. Welcome back to our monkey bread in a bag recipe. So we have just set our dough aside and let it rise for 45 minutes to an hour. Now, when the dough is ready, when it's risen, we're gonna remove the towel. You can see that it's nice and puffy. We're gonna sprinkle some flour on our work surface. And on our rolling pin. and a little on our hands. That's good. Now you're gonna turn your dough out of the bowl on to your work surface, okay? Could help to spread a little bit of this flour on the side that was down in the bowl, okay? Now you're gonna use a rolling pin and you're gonna roll it out into a rectangle that's about a 1/4 inch thick, okay? It's gonna be a pretty big rectangle. Pretty big rectangle. Okay, mine's looking a little bit more like a square. Out. There we go. I think we're about right there. All right, now you've rolled it out to about a 1/4 inch thick rectangle-ish shape. Then you're gonna use either a pizza cutter or a knife, something sharp, and you're going to cut your dough into 1-inch pieces, okay? So I'm gonna cut some strips this way, about 1 inch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, then I'm gonna go this way. About 1 inch. They kind of look like little pillows, don't they? Little pillows of dough. That one's pretty good. All right, so I think we've got them all into about 1-inch size pillows. Then we're gonna take all of our dough pieces and we're gonna put them in a bowl, okay? Put them in a bowl. Come up. You don't have to be too gentle. Don't be rough, but you don't have to be too gentle. Make sure they all got cut through. Almost done. All right. Now, oh, I've got two little sticking together. So now we've got all of our little dough pillows in a bowl here. And in another bowl, you're gonna have whisked together some melted butter, some brown sugar, and some cinnamon. You can whisk those using a fork or an actual whisk, okay? So we're gonna take that we've mixed together, give it a little mix if it's been sitting for a second, okay? And we're gonna pour it over our dough pieces. Pour it over. Use my fork to make sure I get as much out as I can. Then, the spatula here too I'm gonna use. Using your spatula, or you could use a spoon if you need to, you're gonna kind of gently just mix it up so that you make sure that all the pieces get covered with the butter and brown sugar and cinnamon mixture, okay? Make sure they all get covered. Okay, I think pretty much much all of our pieces are covered. You don't want to over mix it too much. Okay, then you're gonna set that aside for a second. You are going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. You can do that anytime you want. 350 doesn't usually take very long. And then you're gonna take your bundt pan. You're gonna get a bundt pan in your kit. It's a pan that has this piece coming up and kind of a hole in the middle. Mine's kind of a fancy shape. Yours will just be regular. And then you're gonna take all your coated pieces, okay, and you're gonna put them in to the bundt pan, okay, just kind of all around a little bit. Make sure they're kind of evenly spread out. You don't want too much on one side or another. Okay. Even mine out a little bit. Perfect. Okay. Now that the coated pieces are in the bundt pan, oh, you know what? I made a mistake. We should have sprayed the bundt pan first. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to quick dump these back in their bowl. Spray the bundt pan with the baking spray. You can also use like olive oil or butter. And then I'm going to put them back in there. Sorry, I forgot that step. It's an important one. Otherwise, your monkey bread will stick to the bundt pan, and that is not good. Okay. Get them back in nice and evenly. Okay. All right. So spread pretty evenly. Our bundt pan is prepared with baking grease or oil or cooking spray. Now we are going to take the bundt pan and we're going to put it in our preheated oven. You're going to bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. While it's baking, mix together half a cup of powdered sugar and a tablespoon of milk or water, and whisk it until it's nice and smooth. Then when the monkey bread is done cooking in the oven, and you take it out, you can drizzle it with that icing that you've made. Thanks for baking with us today.